All right, everybody, welcome. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. Once again, here with a live stream for you here on Labor Day Monday. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. The reason why I wanted to go live today is because there's a lot of news items worth talking about. So instead of doing a whole bunch of smaller snippet videos, I figured I would just do it, all in one shot here. So lot to get to today. I'm going to take them one at a time because there's definitely a lot of things that need to be discussed. The season obviously is starting on Thursday with a supposedly no limitations Matthew Stafford under center for the Rams. This is according to Sean McVay against the Buffalo Bills. So right off the bat, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, some really big names, Stephon Diggs, to either help you get off to a good start this week in your first matchup or to fall behind. And, the first week obviously is extremely important. Winning that first game takes pressure off immediately. If you start the season 0-1 in fantasy, you feel like you're already chasing, and that's not a situation that you really obviously want to be in. So you want to get that first win. So optimizing your lineups is definitely important. And there's news items that came out today that are worth talking about on that front. So the first news item, and there's a whole bunch today. I'm just going to go one by one, then I'm going to talk about it. So Albert Breer, Sports Illustrated, was on today. He was talking about Jalen Hurts of Philadelphia Eagles, and he said that he noticeably has improved his accuracy. Now, that is the final weapon, if you will, that Hurts has to get under control and put into his holster to be the superstar, slam dunk, top tier fantasy football quarterback. And within the realm of possibility this season, Hurts could be the QB1 overall, ahead of Josh Allen, ahead of everybody else. And if that accuracy has improved, and certainly the addition of A.J. Brown is going to help in that endeavor, then I think the sky is the limit on Jalen Hurts. And I've gone on record before saying that I was wrong about Jalen Hurts. I was knocking Hurts when the summer got started in June. I was out on him. I just didn't like what I saw last season from him throwing the football, but now I've changed my tune. The offense has been rejiggered to basically help elevate Hurts to that next level, bringing in A.J. Brown, making that draft night trade. That was humongous for him. And, Dallas Goedert, whose advanced measurables are off the charts in terms of speed and size combination for a tight end and receiving ability and whatnot. You have pass receiving backs in Kenneth Gainwell and Miles Sanders, who's an underrated receiver, as much as people knock him. So it's all and of course, Devontae Smith. It's all there for Hurts to make that leap this season. And I think he's going to get there. Josh Allen is the perfect comp. I mean, not physically, not size-wise, but Allen was dogged by accuracy questions coming into his career. And certainly his first, year plus in the NFL was not great in terms of his accuracy, but he worked on it. And now he's one of the, I wouldn't say he's most accurate, but he's a fairly accurate quarterback at this stage of the game, and everything else has been fully unleashed. His running game, his accuracy has improved, everything. So you combine that all together, and you have the QB1 in fantasy football, which is Josh Allen. Could that be Jalen Hurts a year from now? Certainly. I think Hurts will outrush Josh Allen this year. He's younger, first of all, and maybe Allen starts to dial that back a little bit, but now, if they're going to open up the offense a little bit more, and you don't trade for A.J. Brown to not open up the offense, I think that's going to just help the bottom line numbers for Jalen Hurts for sure. So I think QB1 is within the realm of possibility for sure. I'm really liking the way the offense looks for Philadelphia. The offensive line is the best offensive line in football, in my opinion. So it's all there for Hurts to make that leap. All right, news item. Bills wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie, full participant with his groin injury in practice today, so he looks to be a go. He's ready to play for Thursday night against the Rams. So I've talked about Isaiah McKenzie ad nauseum the last few weeks. I told you I have a connection to the Bills coaching staff, and they said he's been schemed the entire summer to be a major weapon, and I quote that, major weapon in the Bills offense this year. He's playing the slot, the Cole Beasley position, but he is so much more of an athlete than Cole Beasley ever was. He's got speed. He's got decent, very good hands. He's got the ability to take it to the house, unlike Cole Beasley. So it's all there. Jamison Crowder, we hardly knew you. Gabe Davis, obviously, is getting all the attention. You want as many participants from this offense as you possibly can. And so Isaiah McKenzie, I told you to go out and get him weeks ago. If you haven't done so, make sure you get a piece. If he's sitting there in your league waiver wire, there's an absolute lottery ticket that I think is going to pay off. I really do think it's going to pay off. I think Isaiah McKenzie can easily catch 70 passes in this offense, maybe 80 plus. We saw in the one outing that he had against the Patriots down the stretch last season that he was tremendous. So it certainly is, the ability is there for McKenzie to be a big-time guy. All right, news item. Cardinals coach Cliff Kingsbury said Zach Ertz will be day-to-day for week 1 with a calf injury. So day-to-day, obviously it doesn't mean he's out. Day-to-day, for somebody Ertz's age, he's 31. A calf injury is tough. I mean, anybody who's ever injured a calf, and I have, I pulled a calf a couple of years ago, and it took me a very long time to fully get over that. That is a tough injury for a football player. It's not the worst news for Ertz, but I think it does put him towards the 50-50 realm about, playing or not. Of course, the Cardinals are already without DeAndre Hopkins for 6 weeks. I've talked to you about how Marquise Brown could do a Cooper Kupp 2021 impression this season. I think that certainly is within the realm of possibility for Marquise Brown. If you can't get Marquise Brown or you don't own him, you could definitely take Rondale Moore, who might be on your waiver wire. They're going to use Rondale Moore a lot more this season instead of just on jet sweeps and handoffs and short dump-offs. So I think Rondale Moore for 6 weeks can be somebody that really picks up steam in terms of being a fantasy football asset. As far as Ertz is concerned, I liked Ertz. I said that if I didn't get one of the top 3 tight ends, I was going to go Dalton Schultz. If I didn't get Schultz, then I would look to Zach Ertz. So I still like Ertz. I have him on one of my teams, one of my 2 main teams there as a backup. So I think he'll be fine. He's a catch and fall down guy at this stage of his career, but I think Ertz is going to be just fine. News item: James Robinson, according to Doug Peterson, he will be active week 1 against the Commanders. So mixed feelings about this one. It's an Achilles injury. I did a video on this the other day. It's death for a running back. It really is. That's why I've told everybody to avoid Cam Akers, and James Robinson for that matter. I'm not buying anybody coming back from Achilles injury. Look at Marlon Mack. He tore his Achilles. He's never been the same. He just got cut again by the Houston Texans today. Just so many cases of this. I mean, Arian Foster, when he tore his Achilles, he was pretty much just done from that point on. Lendale White, another guy, tore his Achilles, was done. I mean, it's just on and on and on it goes for guys who tore their Achilles and were never able to come back with that same speed, that same ability. Not saying this is the case for James Robinson. He's not a pure speed guy, so maybe it doesn't impact him as much. Peterson does like him. I think he's going to have a small workload week 1, probably the first few weeks of the season as he gets ramped up. But the question I have is, how much is this going to eat into Travis Etienne's numbers? The early 4th round grade on Etienne made me a little bit nervous just because I knew James Robinson was going to be coming back. We know Etienne is a swell receiver. He can catch anything out of the backfield. He's very explosive. So I'm very high on Etienne as a fantasy, running back 2 in PPR leagues. But James Robinson, I'm not sure how much he's going to impact him. So that's what has me a little bit concerned about this situation. As far as picking up James Robinson, he's available in a lot of leagues. If you want to take a flyer in a deep league, a guy who's probably going to be the starting running back. I still think Etienne is going to be mostly a 3rd down back. I'd like to think I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that. I just don't know if the training wheels are going to completely come off right away. I'm not 100% sure yet on Travis Etienne. And the fact that James Robinson is going to be ready, who's excellent in pass protection. He can catch the football. He's an underrated receiver. Goal line duties could be in store for Robinson as well. There's just a lot of question marks all of a sudden now that he's going to be ready for week 1. What does this mean for Travis Etienne? Another news item, Drake London returned to practice today from his knee injury. Of course, he suffered that during the first preseason game. It was a very scary injury. It looked very bad initially, and you thought, oh, my God, this kid's going to be done already before the season even starts. But he was put in bubble wrap from that point on with the idea of having him ready for week 1. And this is crucial. Every Kyle Pitts owner was sweating this one because Kyle Pitts, in order for Kyle Pitts to achieve his maximum impact this season, he needs a healthy Drake London to stretch the field, to draw coverage away from Pitts, and to be that guy that could be a home run hitter, that threat, that deep threat for Marcus Mariota. Whether Mariota can get him the ball down the field, that's a whole nother question. But the fact that London's going to be there is a good thing. I think Drake London could be a wide receiver 3 for sure. He was the first wide receiver drafted for a reason. He's got good speed, good agility, home hitter for sure. But the question obviously is Marcus Mariota. Is Mariota going to be able to consistently deliver the football past the short to intermediate range? That we don't know. So that's why London, at least initially, is on that wide receiver 3-4 cut line. All right, news item. T. Higgins returned to practice on Monday from his shoulder. He went off-season shoulder surgery that he's coming back from. He's going to be just fine for week 1. It's a very interesting dynamic in Cincinnati. Ja'Marr Chase is going to be drawing double teams now on a weekly basis. Down the stretch, the last month of the season, Higgins had a higher point per game production total than Chase did. And Higgins himself, former top pick, has immense ability himself. He could be a wide receiver 1 for sure. All right, just got an alert. The Patriots are signing Laquan Treadwell to their practice squad today. So Laquan Treadwell, the first-round bust, who's been now a full-on journeyman, is going to be signed by the New England Patriots to the practice squad. Nothing really interesting there in terms of fantasy football impact. But getting back to T. Higgins, the Bengals are going to air it out. Joe Burrow is going to get his numbers. I still think Joe Burrow is overrated in terms of his ADP. He's the 5th quarterback coming off the board, which I don't agree with. Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, injured elbow, whatever. I mean, it seems like he's going to be at least okay and probably tough it out. Even Aaron Rodgers. All 3 of those guys are going to have the same number, around the same numbers as Joe Burrow, I believe. And Burrow's going so much more more expensive than those guys who are coming in a lot cheaper. So I'm not sold on that ADP on Joe Burrow, but I love Ja'Marr Chase. I love T. Higgins. I think they're both going to be great. So, and since there really is not much beyond those 2, I mean, Tyler Boyd's a good player, but when all 3 are on the field, Boyd gets the short end of the stick there. There's not much a tight end and Joe Mixon comes off the field on 3rd down. So it's going to be the Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase show. All right, the big one of the day, this one has really got me confounded, is news item. Packers beat reporter Tom Silverstein reported that head coach Matt LaFleur was non-committal on Allen Lazard's status for week 1. So Allen Lazard, popular sleeper, the number 1 prospective target for Aaron Rodgers in the post-Davante Adams era in the Green Bay passing attack, may not play week 1. And this is significant because now Christian Watson, who LaFleur said he's hopeful he'll play this week, now all of a sudden becomes a little bit more interesting. And then you have Romeo Doubs, who, that's the guy that everybody's been chasing. You heard it early on from Peter King, the 4th-round pick there, that Doubs was the one that was drawing all the attention. Randall Cobb is still there. I don't think he's going to do much of anything. Sammy Watkins, I really don't think you want to go down the Sammy Watkins road again. He's burned us so many times. It's just no point in even trying that again, even for week 1. I still love Robert Tonyan. I think Robert Tonyan is going to be a big factor, especially around the red zone. People are sleeping on Tonyan. He had a tremendous year 2 years ago. Obviously, he suffered the injury last season, but let's say Lazard doesn't play in week 1 and Tonyan does. I think Tonyan could be the leading receiver. Watson's going to be brought along slowly. Dobbs, who knows what we're going to get out of him? He's been running hot and cold since. Randall Cobb, just a slot guy. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers loves him, but how much does he have left? So, and you're not going to use Sammy Watkins because anybody with a sane brain is not going to go down this road again. So, I think Robert Tonyan could be the guy. I know everybody's sleeping on him. I think Watson, if he went undrafted in your league, and chances are he did, in quite a bit of leagues, as I was looking at his ownership numbers, they're not as high as I thought they would be. Pick him up. If Watson can hit the ground running in week 1 while Lazard is out, if Lazard is out, he may not be. It's still early in the week. It could be coach speak, but hey, why not? Give it a shot there. Watson, 1st-round pick for a reason. I think it's going to take him a while coming from a smaller school, but, the ability is certainly there. All right, Jalen Waddle returned to practice on Monday. It was really weird with Waddle all training camp. I mean, he was hardly practicing. Mike McDaniel says he's very confident he's going to be there week 1. So, I mean, that's a good thing. His ADP started to sink over the last week or so because, he wasn't really doing much of anything. But Waddle should be out there. Now and for me, I'm going to be consistent and say I avoided this offense completely in terms of pass receivers. No Mike Gesicki ownership shares. I don't have any ownership shares on Waddle or Tyreek Hill. I do have Chase Edmonds. I love Chase Edmonds in this offense. I think he's going to be the guy. He's going to catch a lot of passes. Sony Michel is gone. Raheem Mostert is there, but he's going to last, a quarter and a half before he gets injured. So I don't trust Waddle. I don't trust Hill. I think they're going to siphon looks off each other. And, of course, Tua Tagovailoa, I don't think anybody trusts him. So that's a little bit of a dicey situation as well. News item, Connor Hughes believes Zach Wilson has a chance to play in week 1. That's from SNY TV's Connor Hughes. Zach Wilson coming back from the knee. Anybody that owns Elijah Moore is hoping against hope that Wilson doesn't play, because if Joe Flacco's under center, he's really got a nice rapport going with Elijah Moore, and I think he's going to look for him often during this game. Flacco is a statue in the pocket. He's going to have to check down a lot, and that's where Moore is going to come into play. Garrett Wilson is the deep threat, even Corey Davis. So I think Moore is going to be the leading receiver week 1 if Joe Flacco is under center. And I think the right call for the Jets is to, let Wilson, let him take another week. Maybe watch week 1, watch Flacco operate, see the field from a different vantage point, see how a veteran operates, and then go from there in week 2. It's a tough assignment. Baltimore's defense is very good. The run defense is very good too. So the Jets are going to have to throw it, I think. And I think Elijah Moore is going to be the beneficiary there. All right, Logan Thomas, unsure about week 1 coming back from the knee injury. I'm not really, Logan Thomas was interesting. He did some good things a couple of years ago, but I'm not really focused on Logan Thomas at all. I don't think he's much of a storyline. So not going to waste much time on that. All right, the other big item of today was Greg Allman of The Athletic talking about Leonard Fournette and how they want to dial back the touches on Leonard Fournette. He's talked about Gio Bernard. He talked about Keyshawn Vaughn. Obviously, you got the kid Rachaad White. So I feel that this is not a big deal. They want to dial back the touches to like the mid 60% range, as opposed to the 80s that Fournette was at the 4 games before he got injured. So clearly that high workload contributed to Fournette getting hurt. But I saw on Twitter today, there's a lot of Fournette owners like, oh, I got to sell him now. Rachaad White's going to take a lot of work. No, hold Fournette. Fournette's going to be just fine. And here's a big picture view of this. If dialing back Fournette's snap percentage to 65% as opposed to 80 keeps him on the field for the entire season, that's a net win. It's a net win. If you can have him for 16 games, that is a net win, or 17 games, that is a net win. Okay? It's annoying that every year he misses a game or two, just like DeAndre Swift and Aaron Jones and even more extreme Christian McCaffrey. But if Leonard Fournette, if the snap percentage goes back a little bit, but that preserves his body and keeps him on the field because he's starting to inch up there a little bit in age, that Fournette, I'll take that. And I own Fournette in both of my leagues. All right, I am fully invested in Leonard Fournette. I've talked about being in 2 leagues that I care about, that money is involved and whatnot, bragging rights, all those things. I have Fournette in both. I drafted him a second round in both, and I was very happy about it. I mean, this guy catches 80 passes when all is breaking right. He's going to be the goal line back. So I'm fine with this. And I don't think there's any reason to worry. I mean, I have Rachaad White in both of these leagues as well to back him up in case disaster strikes, but this to me is a nothing item. All right, this one surprised me. Damian Williams will factor heavily into the Falcons' run game. Say what? Damian Williams? I mean, this guy, he's going into his age 30 season. They got Allgeier, the rookie from BYU. They got Cordero Patterson. I know they want to shift Patterson maybe more to a pass receiving role, but Damian Williams, I mean, that's not what you want to see if you're a Cordell Patterson owner or if you're a Allgeier owner as well. And as a matter of fact, I dropped Allgeier in one of my leagues today. If they're really serious about having Damian Williams involved, and there's probably still some juice left in his legs. He hasn't been, he opted out of the 1 year for COVID. He's battled injuries. He hasn't really had the snaps to worry about him being in his age 30 in terms of wearing down. He hasn't been a high volume guy, but yeah, that wouldn't be good if he's there taking work away from Patterson and Allgeier. I really didn't want any shares of the Atlanta offense besides Kyle Pitts. I think Marcus Mariota has a chance to be a post-hype guy like Alex Smith was, when he went to the Chiefs. But I don't know. I wasn't too happy to see that, honestly. And that was somebody who had ownership in Allgeier, hoping that he would eventually be the guy. But not happening there, it looks like. All right, another big one of the day. Chris Godwin was seen Monday practicing without a knee brace. Holy crap. Chris Godwin is practicing fully without a knee brace. This guy, and we saw Cam Akers come back from the Achilles, and now in 9 months, Chris Godwin could be making his return from the ACL. I think he's going to be on a snap count week 1. Todd Bowles, there's no reason for Todd Bowles to even talk publicly about how much he's going to use Godwin in week 1. I think he's going to be on a snap count. There's no need to rush him. They brought in Julio Jones. Russell Gage may not play week 1, but they still have Mike Evans. But, I mean, if Godwin does play a full snap share week 1, and at worst, I think he's going to be back fully by week 3. If they baby him the first 2 weeks, that's fine. But I drafted Godwin in the 8th round in both of my leagues. So he's another guy I have in both of my leagues. I love Godwin. I had him last year. Oh man, it was devastating to lose him. He was a PPR cheat code in October and into November as well, until devastation struck and he was done for the season. That really destroyed my chances to win the one league that I had him in. But I went back to the well. Obviously, you want to get as many Tampa Bay offensive pieces as you could. But if Chris Godwin can play a full season coming off of that torn ACL, and you got him in the 8th round, holy crap. I think Godwin's going to appear on a lot of league-winning championship teams this season. I really do. I took the gamble. I was happy with how he progressed. He never went on PUP. So right away from the beginning, it looked like he's just a freak coming back from this injury at such a rapid rate. All right, so those were the main items. Also, Jason Peters is signing with Dallas. That's good. I mean, he's 40 years old, Jason Peters. God bless him that he's still playing. But, I mean, they needed to do something. They couldn't put a rookie out there at left tackle after losing Tyron Smith. It would have been very potentially bad story for Dak Prescott. And also the running game of Ezekiel Elliott, who's already got a lot of question marks as it is, and CeeDee Lamb. So I think the fact that they're going to have him is a veteran president, a former multiple-time Pro Bowler at left tackle is really going to stabilize things. So that's a good situation there. All right, so listen, if you don't subscribe to the channel here, I don't know what's going on. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, the notification button. So I just want to remind everybody. So the season obviously is starting on Thursday. What I'm going to be doing is, of course, I have all the games. I have the Sunday ticket. As soon as that injury hits, as soon as whoever it is, Drake London comes down with a hamstring pull, or Leonard Fournette, God forbid, because I have him in both leagues, exits with a knee injury, I'm going to do a video right away. 30 seconds later, it's going to be posted. So if you have that notification button hit, well, if you're a subscriber and you already have that notification button hit, you're going to get that alert. All right, new video, and you don't have to go search for anything because I'm going to do it for you. And then Sunday night, I'm coming on for a live stream to discuss all of the performances that went on during the week, during the the slate of games that just took place, all the quarterback news, all the quarterback performances, running backs, receivers, you name it, tight ends. I'm going to cover it all. And then during the week, any injury updates, key injury updates, I'm going to do videos on as well. The usual features that I used to do on the website, stock watch, crisis point, crisis point when a player is all of a sudden struggling or he might lose his job or things are looking bleak. I'm going to do a crisis point and discuss them. Stock watch, updating what a player is doing. All that stuff's going to be posted through video format. And then Friday is the live stream. Every Friday, Football Friday live stream, the wrap up of all of the injuries, who's playing, who's not playing, and try to get some people on for interviews. It's all going to be there. So hit that subscribe button. All right. So also one last thing. If you don't follow me on Twitter, make sure you do so at RotoBoss. All right. At RotoBoss on Twitter. That's the other mechanism I use. I can't do videos on everything. So a lot of times I'll put opinions and stuff on there as well. So yeah, that's it for today. I wanted to do this live stream. I might do another one tomorrow, depending on how much news comes down the pike. I might do that as well. And if you, like I said on one of the videos yesterday, if you see my videos where I'm sitting there in the car, that's because I actually coach high school football. So right before I get to practice, I like to do a couple of videos based on this, on the information and the injury news and reports that were coming out during the day. So I like to do that as well. So if you see me if some of these videos show me sitting in a car, it's because I'm outside of football practice. I do coach high school football. So that's usually where I am before that. So yeah, so I drafted both of my teams. Both of my teams are fully drafted now. And, it's almost like waiting for the other shoe to drop because, we got this week's game starting Thursday. You just know somebody big is going down. And it's like a game of fantasy football Russian roulette Like, is it going to be your players that go down injured? It's going to happen to us all. And fantasy football is like Survivor. You got to get to the end of the season with as many guys available as you can, or else you're screwed. I mean, look at all the Christian McCaffrey owners last year. Look at all the Derrick Henry owners. They were dead before they even started. So it's really just, when it comes down to that, the injuries really are the factor that help, determine who the league champion is, and also making those in-season pickups. Those in-season pickups that could win you a title. And usually it's the running backs that do that, not as much the wide receivers. So, and that's why I always say draft a wide receiver in round 1. There's less injury risk. It's harder to find a difference-making wide receiver during the course of the season as opposed to running backs. I still have nightmares over CJ Anderson of the Denver Broncos, who cost me a league championship all those years ago when he came out of nowhere. I don't even remember who it was. It might have been Mike Anderson who got hurt, one of those backs that they had back then, the Broncos, and then Anderson comes in and I made the finals, and the guy who picked up CJ Anderson wound up winning it. So again, the receivers are always a safer investment, and the running backs, it's always chaos. Who's going to get hurt? Who's not? How long is Christian McCaffrey going to last? How long is Rashad Penny going to last? Is Leonard Fournette, Aaron Jones going to have the 1 to 2 game absences, or is it going to be longer? Dalvin Cook especially. And here's the thing, too. I forgot to mention with Dalvin Cook. Alexander Mattison has always been a natural handcuff, but that may not be the case this year. They brought in a couple of rookie backs that they like a lot, and that's why Mattison was drawing a lot of trade attention this summer. And I ultimately think that Mattison could get traded at some point. If there's a big injury that takes down somebody, I think Mattison could be traded. I think that Dearness Johnson could be traded. So that's something that we have to look into as well. All right, that's all for today, folks. Live stream, good, just about a half-hour show. I appreciate you guys tuning in. You tell all your friends about us, or maybe you don't want to because you don't want to give out, any of your secrets. I don't blame you one way or the other, but I will be checking in with you guys tomorrow. I might do a live stream tomorrow. I'm not sure, but make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, everybody, have a great day. We'll talk soon.